Hey, how's it going, everyone? Just back again with another commentary video. Obadiah's Judgement just posted the mind of a demon. So let's hear what he has to say. And I just listened to a little bit of it, and I just figured I would do sort of a live reaction to this and just hear what he has to say and all that. So I posted a video this morning just to kill time about end times teachers' take on the non-virgin birth. And I mentioned this guy's name, and so he took exception to that, and that's fine. It's interesting. It's going to be interesting to hear what he has to say about that. It's obviously a very, very important topic, and I asked him through email if he's wrong, would he concede that he's blaspheming the Holy Spirit, and he didn't respond. And so, that makes sense, what's going on. And so I've sent him all my breakdowns, of Revelation, and at the highest level, a little bit more detailed, and then every single chapter, it's like over an hour long. And so he's not sure where my breakdowns are, but I sent it to him through email. So I'm not sure if he has trouble going through his email, but it's a very important topic, the virgin birth, of course. And so the stuff that I'm doing ever since my quote retirement date is like when I stopped doing my weekly live streams where I'm reading out of prophetic books. My very last one I've hidden, but I stopped on the day that I was planning to. I don't read out of prophetic books and that kind of thing. It's more just me doing commentary on the world, commentary on if somebody mentions me, then I'll respond to it. And so, I stand by what I predicted, that definitely by the end of 2023, if America is still kind of kicking and doing what it's doing and all that, it's still livable, then I'm flat out wrong, like way wrong. And so I'm waiting for Christ's second coming this year intensely, next year lightly, and then after that, it's just the Bible wasn't for me, and that's I've said that many, many times, and I will stand by that, and that's just what it is. And so if I'm wrong, we're going to find out soon. It's not going to take a decade, and then then I don't want to teach more, and like put more videos out of me being wrong. And so I am asking Obadiah's Judgement for a breakdown of Revelation 11 so we can learn what his opinion is. And like, let's say it's superior or better, then I'll examine it and then decide, and then I'll obviously judge the person that's giving it to me and what they're all about, what groups they're affiliated with and all that kind of stuff. But just let's hear it. Like, we've gone back and forth with so many videos, but let's share the goods. Like, what did you come up with when you searched on YouTube and Google or whatever for a Revelation 11 breakdown? Let's hear it. If you don't like the stuff that I said against Tahar, and you don't like the video that I've sent you about Revelation 11, then let's hear yours. That's fine. Like, if you're right, then that's good. I'm not going to be angry or whatever. I'll be like, damn, I wish I was teaching that, that's the correct interpretation. But I think he knows just by him searching for Revelation 11 and then not just showing it, like if a person has the truth or they're very confident in a particular truth, like they'll bring it out, like they'll come forward with it, here's Revelation 11, do you want to discuss it? Do you have any questions or whatever? Like, this is what it is, like it would be very, very obvious, and they wouldn't be ashamed of it or anything like that. And so I'm very upfront about my Revelation 11 breakdown, that it's two people, and if it's not two people, and then I'm wrong. That's just that's just what it is. And then I don't want to teach it more if I'm wrong, and so I'd be open to hearing what his interpretation is, and I will be respectful, but I'll also be able to strongly disagree, in the places that I don't agree with. And so I'm assuming I'll disagree with all of it because they treat that book as purely symbolic, and or that chapter as purely symbolic, and it's not. For me, it's literal and sequential. So just to clarify, what I'm doing, I guess, with my videos. And so, if people don't really mention me, then I'll kind of not say anything. But this topic, again, it's helpful. This guy doesn't understand that they might be wrong. They don't recognize that if you're teaching something that's false, especially this topic of the non-virgin birth, and no one out there corrects you, then I'm not doing End Times Teacher, for example, a favor. Just letting him continue on teaching lies and all that kind of stuff. Like, how is that a good thing, to do? And then even worse is like having that video out there and not be checked, for how it's wrong and it's evil. And according to the Bible, if he's wrong, it's the worst form of evil. And so, let's hear. He's all in his feelings, the mind of a demon. Let's hear this.
That can happen for anybody, righteous and non-righteous. And so I believe that this 3.5-year period is going to begin soon. And I predicted that America will get destroyed by the end of 2023, and I stand by that. And so that means that this has to happen soon. And so I stand by it. And if it doesn't happen, I'm not going to just change my story. And so I don't like what Tahar obviously did with his 2000 prophecy and failed. You're not allowed to go and change your story. So I don't like what destroyed. Hey man, America was still standing in the year 2020. Telling me I'm only going to preach for 6 more months. I'm not preaching after that. Is telling me I'm only going to preach for 6 more.
I want to give all praise.
So he played it a few times, and it's fair. Like I'm not preaching or prophesying like I did. I don't think he's aware that I had a weekly live stream, and I used a different thumbnail. They're easier to search for. I think I even put weekly stream in the title so there you can find them. On my YouTube video page, you can click back and forth between a standard upload and then a live stream. And so they're all there, and so I used to do that, and then I stopped. I've hidden the last one because, I was worried a little bit about what YouTube would say, because I mentioned about, God's elect being suicidal. So I wasn't sure if I should keep something like that. But I mean, I didn't teach anything new in that stream. But yeah, so I unlisted that one. But yeah, I mean, that I stopped doing that, and so because again, if I'm right, then I know at that point, and now I know no one cares. And if I'm wrong, I don't want to teach more, like go into prophetic books even more. The stuff that I'm teaching now is more as like an observer, like just more of a teacher than a quote prophet. And if I'm just trying to kill time, and just doing, in this case, what should be a service for end times teacher, but these people, you can't disagree with them, and then they'll get emotional and angry. And then that's just a sign of a person who's pushing a lie. They're not real people. Like they will not admit if they're wrong. This is what would be the result, right? And so they're not like that. It's the same as the ball earthers that we debate. They will never admit that there's any reasonable position for the flat stationary earth, and these people are the same. And so that's obvious to me, and so these are not like real people that we're interacting with. And so it's a service for me to warn other people who are into this end time stuff that you got to be careful what you're teaching, because we're all accountable. If the Bible's true and all that kind of stuff, like we're going to be responsible for people who get into any kind of public setting what we're teaching. And so I've stayed true to my word, and that end of 2023 to me is absurd. If Christ doesn't return prior to then, and America is technically destroyed now, like with this Corolla thing, like you can make an argument that America is already fallen, and I read a lot of people's comments about America, and I don't even know how serious they are about the Bible, like Babylon's fallen, America's fallen, and all that. It's obvious. Like 60 million people unemployed, them just pumping money into the system, telling everybody wear a mask, which is evil, and social distance and all that. I mean, this is it's a joke. Like, it's over now. And so my prediction, I would say, again, this was pre-Corolla that I said that. So, it's not way off, certainly. And so, yeah, I mean, if Christ doesn't return by the end of 2023, then there's no arguing or coming back. I was off, like way off. And then that's, to me, plenty of time for me to decide what I've put out there, my body of work, is true or not, and so it's exciting, personally for me, because I definitely wouldn't want to teach stuff and then have to wait 10 or 15, 20 years to figure out whether it's true or not. So it's exciting, for sure. And so Tahar hasn't done that. He made a prediction which negated like almost the whole book of Revelation. If America would be destroyed by 2000, it would remove all the stuff that's required. Like, again, they think they're the two witnesses, but Revelation 11 hasn't been fulfilled yet. And they would obviously skip over the mark of the beast and all that kind of stuff. So, like, he was like demonstrably off, like way off. And so it's I don't mind this feedback and accountability, mind of a demon or whatever, but he needs to go and apply this to his boys as well, and that's where we know that he's operating in a different mindset, that it's inconsistent. It's like you can put these videos of me and say that I shouldn't be doing this and all that kind of stuff, but then why is he going and telling and saying, oh, it's virtuous for Tahar to keep prophesying when he's been off, like literally every single year? So that's the part that doesn't make sense. And so let's hear this.
Glory and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakadash, double honor to all the other apostles of GMS that taught me the truth. Peace and shalom to my fellow Ikem that taught me the truth and that are pushing the truth with honesty and sincerity, man. Shalom.
I'm still waiting for a Revelation 11 breakdown. I'm still waiting for him just to put a video up and say, this guy's a flat stationary earth, or don't take him seriously, and then we wouldn't even have to go in this back and forth if he just clarifies his view, states what mine is, and just say, don't take him seriously, and then it would be over. But he's got flat earth on his brain. We're going to hear it.
Yahweh is the Heavenly Father who the Word originally calls Lord God. Yahweh Shai is the only begotten Son who the Word originally calls Jesus Christ. Those are the true names in ancient Paleo.
Nate calls him Yahweh Shai. Awake Souls calls Jesus Christ Yahweh Shai. And we know those people are demons. And so what's going on with that? What's your explanation for that?
Hebrew, which is known as the Lashawan Kodash, man. All right. And here we got the mind of a demon. Yet you see him saying 8 months ago that in the middle of 2020, that if the world isn't coming to an end, or if the two witnesses are not on the scene, that he would stop prophesying and preaching. All right. And if you go back, you look at the channels, Nikki, you've never done that. He's never done that,
Never done what?
And I had to block him off my comment board because I try to give everyone a chance. And he just started spamming my comment board with just the dumbest questions.
I start asking him genuine questions. All he leaves on mine is just like a person crying, laughing, or something like that. Like, these people are just not intelligent. Like, I just ask him, like, diplomatically about his Revelation 11 breakdown. Is spinning ball earth Antichrist, which is a yes, no. And even End Times, I think, has answered when I've asked them that. Yes, it is. Of course it is, because it's nowhere in the Bible. And so anybody else who teaches that is Antichrist, just like Zabak is Antichrist. And Nate is Antichrist, because they teach that and obviously a lot of other false things. And same with GMS. It's the same. And so they think that God, the Most High, who they call Yahweh and Yahweh Shai, is feeding information down into Tahar's brain, all these truths, but he's like slipping in the ball earth and he's like, don't worry about it. That, whatever. I just gave you a few lies, just to kind of pepper it in and all that kind of stuff. Does that make any sense? That means that God's a liar and a deceiver. And that doesn't make sense. And so that's not the case. So you're either getting this quote 100% truth from the 100% truth, or you're getting it from the enemy, and so that's very, very obvious. And again, he won't answer those questions, but he knows, which is why he's in his feelings posting all these videos, because in his mind, he's trying to really realize, like, it's hard for, just like even us as flat earthers, it was difficult for us to realize that our whole life we were taught that we were on a spinning ball, and that's obviously not true. And then it takes some amount of humility to realize we've been duped, like we didn't once throughout our years of existence question that, and like it's embarrassing, and so he's finding out that he's been duped now as an adult, but just a little bit more subtly, because there is some truth that's being distributed through the Hebrews, and that I've acknowledged that many times. And so yeah, I watch their videos, because I watch their videos just like I watch Russian vids. Russian vids is distributing a lot of truth, but he thinks that these UFOs and stuff are run by like fallen angels or demons and stuff like that, when I believe that that's God, and that's God and his angel. So that doesn't mean that I don't watch any of Russian vids stuff, because he's teaching a lot of things that are true, just like our people in Flat Earth. They're showing a lot of stuff that's true, but that doesn't mean that I believe simulation theory or Mandela effect that they're into. And it's the same thing. Like I said, the earth is given into the hands of the wicked. So yeah, I'm doing my due diligence and looking at what everybody teaches. And yeah, of course, the Hebrew Israelite group as a whole movement has truth, of course, but again, even like our schools have truth, but they're teaching us a lot of lies, and then they're charging us for it, which is exactly what Tahar's doing.
And demanding, but what's the breakdown for this? And for some reason, he is obsessed with Revelations, the 11th chapter. All right. For some reason, he's obsessed with the
because it's a very, very important chapter. And, You were this started this whole interaction because you said that my response to Tahar was weak and didn't have anything, and then I sent you my actual video, the lengthy one, and you know, then it's there. And so now the only thing that's missing is your breakdown of it, you know, or your defense of whatever Tahar was teaching. Instead of, we get all this mind of a demon back and forth. So again, all this does reaffirm to me is that don't look at GMS for that chapter, you know, because they're not going to give you anything. And so it doesn't mean that mine's right, because like I said, I'm waiting, and I'm not waiting for much longer. But it doesn't add credibility to anybody else's Revelation 11 breakdown. Every breakdown of Revelation 11 that I've heard so far is stupid. And if what I'm teaching is true, then God has connected the dots between Acts 1:10 and Revelation 11. That those two people in white robes, when Yahushua or Christ left, when he returns, those will be the two witnesses. And so I haven't heard anybody else teach that. And so if that's wrong, then it's wrong. You know, I'm not going to push that more. But if it's right, then why aren't they teaching that? And, you know, if they don't think that it's right, then tell me what you think it is. You know, go through it.
Revelations, the 11th chapter. He says that the Lord gave him a vision of that. And he says, Revelations 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 is in order.
No, I didn't say that. So again, that's all these people can do is just take stuff out of context. That from Revelation, I believe 16, Revelation 17 and 18 then talk about America's destruction. And so from that point onwards, it's sequential, you know. And so, no, Revelation 11 and 12 is what I believe we're living in now. And then, like I've said, and he sort of, I think, understands, is that Revelation 11 is not yet to happen, but I believe very soon. So it's not in order. And I've sent him my videos with all the sequence, you know, and then 7, 14, and 21 are summary chapters and all that. Like, just if he just has a few minutes, he can look at the high level, mid level, and then the detailed one. So he has all these links. He's realizing that he's been lied to. You know, that's really what's going on. And so it doesn't necessarily mean mine's right, but I think he knows that they don't have anything on that. And so they don't know the sequence. And so they don't realize that, again, if what I teach is true, that Christ is going to return at the beginning of the Great Tribulation period. And then the way, like it says in Acts, that when he left, the way he returns, there'll be two men standing there. And that's the two witnesses. And so then there's a 1260-day period. And so they don't understand that Christ is going to return first with his angels and then again with his elect. And so they don't have an answer for those verses. End Times teacher's answer, which is hilarious, is like, oh, no, when he returns with his elect, that's the dead in Christ that rose first. That's why they're with him. That's how he explains when there are verses that talk about Christ returning with his elect. So they got nothing. And so they don't understand that Christ is going to return twice, you know, and the first time is, again, for his elect, and then to drop off the two witnesses, and then at the end of the Great Tribulation, like we read in 2 Ezra 13, with his elect, and then that's everybody as the mark of the beast, and that's accomplished in 1260 days. So he knows that he's got nothing, dude. I'm still anxious to hear his Revelation 11, whatever you Googled in YouTube or Wikipedia.
But when you read Revelations, the 11th chapter, he says the two witnesses have come on the scene, and that hasn't happened yet. But the formation of the beast and NATO and the EU in Revelation 12, that has already happened. So Revelations 12, Revelations 12 has happened with the formation of NATO and the EU and the beast. But Revelations 11, it didn't happen yet. It's a future prophecy. But Revelations 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 are in order.
I've never said that. Again, his brain is blocked because he's stuck on GMS, GMO. I said 11 internally is sequential and literal, but I would never say 11, 12, 13, all that sequential, because it goes against what I've taught, and I've sent him all the files. And so he knows that if he looks into those, he'll realize that he's wrong, you know, and that's just the reality of it. So if the Bible's true, I'm confident that my sequencing of the book of Revelation is the way it is. There's no other way that makes sense. 11 and 16 are sister chapters, and because there's a massive earthquake at the end. And so God tells us this. And Revelation 11 is tied to Acts 1:10 because of the two witnesses. And so it all makes sense. And he's going to, I think, in this video show that if he scrolls down a bit further, that especially at the beginning of this year, where it wasn't a vision, it was like unlocked. It's just the sequence made sense, and then I put all the tiles in the right order, and then it made sense. And then not only just Revelation and Acts, but all the major and minor prophets. I have videos of all of those. And so he's just in his feelings. This guy's so emotional that he can't realize and get past the fact that he might be wrong, and that God might have actually unlocked other people's minds, just in individual groups, and he can't get over that. And so I'm sure he probably hasn't opened those videos from what he's talking about here. I don't think he's looked at any of those. Like, he bookmarked one of my second Esdras ones, but that's just one drop of all the research and analysis that I've done in every single chapter, every single book of the Bible. Every single book of the Bible supports the sequence that I present, and again, I wouldn't present it if it wasn't solid, and it makes sense, like, just from a practical perspective with the way the world is right now. I know that Christ has to return soon because we're required to sin to stay here. And then there are people that are close to God, these people claim to be, that would rather die than sin. That's the way it is, and that's the way it is in human history with the Israelites. And so if I'm a heathen and I'm feeling that, whether I'm Israelite or not or whatever, let's say I'm a heathen, which is fine. If I'm feeling that, what are the people that are really close to God thinking, and there's just everyday average people know that this place is disgusting. It's not going to get better and evil and all that kind of stuff. So how many more days can we have left from a very practical perspective if the Bible's true? And then in my opinion is that if the Bible's true, then, my interpretation is to be considered, in the very least. I don't think he's considered it, which is sad. His brain is so Stockholm syndrome by Tahar, like, if he were even entertain another option, like the flat stationary Earth, or that the two witnesses are two people, it's like there's like this virtual Tahar that will just get angry or something, and then his salvation will be taken away. But the reality is, if he looks into it, he'll realize that he'll have a better chance to be saved, because none of God's elect would ever teach that, Jesus Christ or Yahushua was born of a man and woman. That's just blasphemy. And so, like, that's just one of the many things that he's way off on, him and End Times Teacher.
And this is the mind of a demon, man. Okay, and I wouldn't even say anything, but yet he mentioned my name again in the video that he made today. And
dude, you can say it. I have time. We can go back and forth, dude. I have no issues with that. This is what you want, and I'm okay with that. And it's just just so you know, if you only watched the beginning of this video, is that I'm going to keep asking you for your Revelation 11 breakdown, and then all people who listen to these videos are going to be like, why isn't the guy just providing his breakdown? Like, why doesn't he just mirror Tahar's video or mirror somebody's and then get this over with? They're going to wonder, and I don't need to know, because I've heard those Revelation 11 breakdowns and they're stupid. So the more we go back and forth, which is fine, again, because I can kill time, but you don't cough up what initially started this back and forth, it's going to be weird, So I ask again, what did you come up with when you search Google and YouTube and Wikipedia?
When you go to his videos, so for this is the video. Let's just go down. Let's just go down so you can see the madness. All right, so it started around here, where it says the mind of God versus Obadiah is judgment. All right, and so here he made. This is after our dialogue we had. So he made 1, 2, 3, 4. In the span of scoffing, like,
See, all they say is scoffing, and I want people to know it's the same thing with, like, people in the flat earth. It's like, if you make fun of, Arwin or any of these people, they'll just block you, and all that kind of stuff, and they'll just like, oh, he's a scoffer. When we're offering feedback and criticism, Dirth, who's an idiot, said that the mass is a bigger deal than the financial manipulation. Like, that doesn't need to go, unchecked, or like doesn't need to go checked. Like, that's stupid for anybody to say that. And so I made a video roasting Dirth, which anybody who's has any ounce of common sense would know that the mass thing is a result of all the evil, and financial and all that. So just because our people, like our co-leaders, say things doesn't mean that we can have to agree with what they say. So these people, GMS, anybody says something that's stupid, I'm going to check them for sure. Like, because it's not a good thing to just leave it unchecked, even if no one really sees it. So all these people just get angry because we're irritating their structures, their financial scam, their Ponzi scheme that Tahar has set up, and they don't like that. And for some reason, this guy's not even benefiting from it, I suspect, financially. But and he's like, just all he's getting is lies. And so this is the world that we live in. People are enslaved, and they're happy to be enslaved. So it's got to be over.
So, but is nothing edifying coming?
Again, this guy doesn't understand that what I said I have stuck to. If he wants those breakdowns, he's going to have to go before that date that I said. I can't remember if it was like August, July, August, or whatever. And then you'll see them all. And I've sent him through email, like the most important ones with Revelation stuff. And then if he wants more detail, I think they're in the links below to those videos, all the support for all the breakdowns. So it's all there. So I just want people to know, this is interesting for me psychologically, is that this person, instead of going and edifying all these other people and teaching all the elect and, God's chosen people and all that, he'd rather do this video, which doesn't bring out any verses or teach anybody Revelation 11. So where's your Revelation 11? These things are about to happen, right? So yeah, we agree that it's not like 10 or 15, 20 years down the road. So all the books in Revelation, it's like the rubber's meeting the road, and it's scary and exciting at the same time, because it's like, you don't really need, how much more time or history has to pass before we know what's about to happen, in its sequence. So, I mean, we're pretty late in the game. And so we shouldn't need this kind of back and forth. He should just say, this is what we believe, and then that's it. And it's telling why that's not happening. So he's unfortunately making himself look bad by not realizing that I have stuck to what I said. And those breakdowns that he's looking for are just, you have to go down further. And like I've said many times, that the first of this year is when you'll see a cluster of them, all of them. January, February, you'll see going through all the different, books supporting my breakdown.
From it. You know what I'm saying? Niggas just using him to sharpen his sword, man.
End times teacher did not sharpen his sword with me. He has no idea what's going on. He thinks that all Israel will be in the kingdom when Christ Yahushua from his own mouth says that body and soul will be cast into hell, and then hell is going to be cast into a lake of fire. So how do you survive that, whether you're an Israelite or not? Just that alone debunks a majority of the nonsense that you clowns teach. So you guys don't teach anything, you don't know anything about the Bible really in terms of the sequence and, the way it should fit together, because you don't take things that even like Yahushua, you don't take them literally. You don't care. You're just like, whatever, just joke. Don't worry about that. Don't need to think about that. Tahar got us covered and all that. So a person who's going to understand the Bible is going to take definitely what Christ says, Yahushua says literally, and then apply that to what's going to happen, in Revelation and other places. So know that. Christ also says that he's going to return during a calm time where people are going to be giving into marriage. How's that when the missiles are in the air and then people are beamed up is that a calm time? People are so dumb, dude.
And so I'm going to show you what he did today. But look at all these.
This guy's so hurt.
Videos, man. Look. Video that he pulled up about.
Why don't you comment on my clarifying my position on the mark of the beast? I haven't heard you to put any comments down below. What if the first thing in the skin is like an etching? What if it doesn't have RFID capability? Is that the mark of the beast? How come you have all this time to make all these videos about nothing, but you don't comment on the real questions that I ask? So why don't you comment on that video? I noticed that looks like from what you're showing, you got through like the first minute, and then you realize, oh shoot, there's too much here. This might go against the doctrine, and then you run away like a little girl, right? And so why don't you watch that whole video and see what I said? And then I issued a challenge to you, an end times teacher, which you both won't answer because you're limited scripters. You're not allowed to admit that you might be wrong or a little bit off and course correct, because you're only allowed to push the doctrine, which is obviously wrong on many levels, not just non-virgin birth and then the ball earth and all that kind of stuff, Revelation 11 and everything, but what it requires for your sins to be forgiven, which Yahushua says that you have to forgive others. And so there are works involved, for sure. And so you're off on so many levels, but I'm interested why you didn't watch that entire video. What's going on? Why don't you make a video about this sort of tattoo type technology that looks like it's out there? What if the mark of the beast doesn't have radio frequency?
Apostle Tahar, another video about Apostle Tahar. He's seen a video about the name End Times Teacher.
End Times Teacher and this guy are like brothers, they're on the same team, and it's just like, Carlos Pagan comes by my chat, who's a ball earther, and End Times Teacher and him have a spiritual connection because they're all on the same team. They're all limited scripters. They're not allowed to interpret the Bible literally. And if you go against their narrative, they're going to get angry, and like they're going to start making crazy videos about you, just like the ball earthers do with us flat earthers. And it's the same, with these people. And so he's sticking up for his boy.
He said he would. And so we'll get up.
I haven't prophesied since that day that I said. I'm just doing like commentary, and just if I'm bored or if I see something in the financial world, and I'm more of like a teacher or just an observer, like what's going on. But these videos I'm doing as a favor to you, but you guys are too stupid to even know that you've been hoodwinked into a spiritual Ponzi scheme that is obvious to literally the whole world. And so whatever, if it's not useful for you, then that's okay. It doesn't cost me anything, and it's fine, I guess, if you don't watch it or don't care, but maybe other people can learn and I can prevent other people from being as gullible as you guys. So you're stupid if you believe Tahar is like somehow being used by the Most High in some way, except just being an actor like all the other deceivers that are out there, sharing some truth and some falsehood.
Let's get that James 1:8.
Dude, you get the James 1:8. Why don't you get the Revelation 11? Dude, I've been asking you for like a week now, 2 weeks. You keep getting all this great, dude. I'll hear your James and then we'll go into some other stuff. Where's the Revelation 11?
James 1:8. A double-minded man.
Why don't you just say that I believe the two witnesses are two men that are not here yet. You believe they're two nations and they're here, established, and then obviously growing and flourishing and all that. Why don't you just say that that's our difference, and let's see what happens. The mind of a demon and all that, getting in your feelings and all this kind of stuff. I think you're realizing that breakdown that is out there and circulating amongst the quote unquote Hebrew Israelites is absolute nonsense. And then flat earth is just the easy way to determine that whole group is just Masonic for us. And so it doesn't necessarily, again, mean that I'm right, but we know that that's wrong. And so I think you're realizing there's something else going on.
And is unstable in all his ways, and this dude is unstable.
This coming from a guy whose apostle has made a prediction every single year that's just fallen flat on his face. This prediction about 2023, I'm not coming back for a third time with the Bible. It's over for me. It's over. And so it's just, and I don't recommend that for anybody else if we're still around during that time. That's for me though, and so I've said this on every single video and I'll continue to say it. I'm not reneging that date, and so I should have worded it a little bit differently in that what I should have said is that Christ has to return prior to 2023, but it's semantic, because if Christ doesn't return prior to 2023, then it doesn't matter whether it's America's destroyed or Christ returns or not. It does, for me, it's functionally the same thing. But if Christ does return prior to 2023 and I'm out that day. I've said this many times. I'm not hanging around here. So I'm not going to reject the Bible. I'm going to realize that the God of the Bible is real. It's just that event was not for me, but that's okay. I'm not hanging around here because I know that from that point, there's only 1,260 days and it's only great tribulation. So I'm not hanging around. I hate it here now. So it's functionally the same thing, but if I was more careful about what I should have said is that Christ's return will have to happen before 2023, not America being destroyed. But again, you could argue that America is kind of obviously destroyed now, with this coronavirus. So I'm still have some hope, but like I've said many times this year, very into the Bible in terms of like looking into the sky, just like these UFOs and all that. Next year, lightly. After that, even like 2023 is outlandish. 2022 and 2023, I'm not really going to be posting anything, of a religious nature.
Okay. He's very unstable. Here it is that he wants you to preach his flat earth doctrine.
This guy's got flat earth on his brain so much, dude. It's awesome.
Okay. He wants you to preach.
The thing that this guy doesn't understand is the more he keeps talking about flat earth, people who are around his channel, and hopefully, it grows and he comes out of this, like, they're going to wonder, like, dude, why is this guy talking about flat earth so much? Like, he's got flat earth on his brain, which just shows, again, that it's true. The earth is flat and stationary. God told us that it's obvious that we're not spinning, and then the black swan proves that it's flat, and then the qualitative aspects is that the people that are opposing it are just all liars, and actors and agents like this guy.
Preaches flat earth doctrine. He wants you to accept his Revelations 11, the 11th chapter breakdown.
this guy sounds so hurt. Like, I'm not asking you to accept flat stationary earth. I'm saying that it's important as a way to have faith in that God exists. It's amazing. And then it helps you interpret the Bible literally, which is a lot of us have come back to the Bible because we know that the earth is flat and stationary. And then that means God exists. And then the God of the Bible is a great candidate. And then we read the Bible literally. And then I don't ask anybody to accept my Revelation 11 breakdown unless it happens. And so if you think that Revelation 11 is to be understood a different way, that those two men, those two witnesses are not men or two people, then let's hear it. Just go through it. And then I'll do a response to that, I guess, and the reasons why I don't think that what you're saying is true. And then I'll use the Bible, and then I'll use things going on in real life. And so you're sounding very insecure about what's going on, dude. Just let's cough it up, man. Well, listen to your James 1:8. Okay, a double-minded man is unstable. Okay, great. I've just posted a video of all this hypocrisy with all the elders of GMS saying, don't associate with the world, but the guys in a Masonic biker club holding up the 33, and all that kind of stuff, like Majestic's MC is on the back of the jacket, which is 33. And it's kind of common knowledge at this point that all the people are just Masons because they're just talking circles and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not sure why you haven't gotten the memo yet, unless there's something else going on.
All right. And you just start saying all this other crazy shit in today's video, how we are limited to the scriptures. And
this guy's so dumb. Limited scriptors means that you can only talk about certain verses in the Bible. And you're only allowed to speak from a limited script. You guys are only allowed to talk about news events going on in the world that come from CNN and Fox News. And like I've said many times, the majority of those are obviously false. And so you want me to feel sympathy for people that are, quote, shot in these stories, but they're not real? Like, you want me to feel sad about people who are not even, dying and all that kind of stuff? Like, feel bad that Kobe is not alive or whatever. None of us think that that's real. And even if he was, we don't care, all that kind of stuff. So the only thing that matters for the end times is God's elect. And then that's when the end time happens. And then so they would have to be suicidal, because God would rescue them. And so if the days were not cut short, no flesh would be saved. So they would all just take their own life, or they would be killed somehow by the system, squeezed out. And so that's the only thing that matters. And what would matter to the people closest to God is the law. So if you're required to sin, they wouldn't want to be here another day. And so that's what's going to dictate the end times. And if he doesn't realize that that's happening now and has been like this forever, I don't know what else to say. Like, was it righteous in the past and all of a sudden it's great now? It's been vile and disgusting from the beginning. We just know it now. We know we're in hell and all that kind of stuff because God has woken us up, through very many truths. And so that's all that matters in terms of the end times. Posting news clippings and all that is, for me, mostly just to show that everybody knows it now. It's like common knowledge. So obviously it's going to be magnified with God's elect.
See, look, brothers go into detailed breakdowns of these scriptures, man. All right. I'm not a part of GMS, but I am affiliated with GMS Dallas. I'm affiliated with them. All right. I go to their live, I attend their camps. I go to their live classes to where they have edifying classes going deep.
If they do, why are you wasting all this time? You can put these videos up, but just put the next one or some up of Revelation 11. That's fine. Then if they've all these camps have brought it out, just summarize what you think that they're teaching and then share that, so my audience can get another perspective besides mine. And then we can have a scholarly feedback and dialogue instead of just the mind of a demon and, me calling you guys animals, which is fine. Like, if we want to do that, I'm comfortable, with what I share and my position and who I am and all that kind of stuff. I have nothing to hide. Like I've said, I only plan on being in the body for like another year or two. So again, I have literally nothing to lose. And I'm not saying that to be arrogant or anything. It's just a lot of people are like this. We don't have any resources and we hate it here because we know through the Bible that this is hell. And so we're not making long-term plans. And so, yeah, I would rather pass into that realm knowing more truth than lies. So yeah, if you have truth that you can share, of course, I want to hear it. And so, but you keep talking about it, but not showing it to us, it's like, what are you trying to do? You're advertising something that's so great, but just show us, what it is. Show us all that information.
Into the history of these breakdowns, man. All right. We've done a breakdown of Jeremiah, the Daniel the 11th, not Judas, but I can't think of the.
This guy doesn't understand. If he scrolls down further, he's going to see me go through all the prophets supporting my sequence. And so he doesn't know what's going on, and so he knows that when he does, he's going to get a competing breakdown, and this one's going to make sense. It's going to be consistent with the entire Bible, and that's just what it is, and so it all plays out, like a movie, and that's the way it should. And so this notion that Christ is going to return when the mark of the beast is here and the missiles are flying and then the people are taken away, that's not in the Bible. And so that's not at all what the Bible says. That Christ says he's going to return during a calm time. And then so the calmness has to be at least in America. And so where do they even get that? So again, they don't consider the whole Bible when they come up with their non-existent narrative that I haven't heard yet. What is the sequence? I keep asking you, what are you warning people that's going to come out next? If you think it's a mark of the beast, why don't we just agree to disagree? Because it's obviously two different things. And so, or we can just forget about agreeing to disagree. We can just know that those are our 2 points. And then you could support yours by saying, whatever, I'm a demon. And then I'll support mine by saying, you guys are animals and all that. And then we'll let people decide, that's fine. But I can't critique your point when I don't know what it is. And so I know that you have those videos because I sent them through to email. And even if you don't want to watch the longer one because you think that it's nonsense, but watch the first 2. And it's just like as obvious as it could be. I think one of them's like 10 or 15 minutes. The other one's like a couple minutes. And that's the sequence. That's how the tiles were put in place. And so I'm waiting for yours.
I can't think of her name, man. Salaki is escaping me right now. Brothers are all into Chronicles. What is he talking about? Like, he doesn't know what he's talking about.
No, he doesn't understand the term that I've used, because only people who are familiar with my channel. When I say you're a limited scripter, it means that you're not able to read from the entire Bible, and then also with what's going on in the world, you're only allowed to spew stuff that's from the mainstream. And we've seen that. It's obvious with the quote-unquote Hebrew Israelites that Tahar and all them only will cite stuff in the mainstream. So they don't reference stuff with like Russian vids and like all the hoaxes and the stage things and all that. So you're a limited scripter.
So he makes a claim that in this new video where he's talking about the mind of or the end times teacher, and it's just failing miserably, man. Failing miserably. He brings up my name for whatever reason. So we'll just listen to a little bit of this.
Understand why the shape was hidden, but it's just nonsense. Again, stuff like legal age, involving women, rape, and all this kind of stuff, like completely irrelevant, in the time that we live in now.
It's irrelevant. The laws, getting the understanding, the teaching of laws are irrelevant, but the shape of the earth matters. And when he can't go anywhere and find Yahushua preaching flat earth,
he's still stuck on that. He just really is like so determined to shill for the ball earth. It's just, he might as well go in those hangouts and just defend the ball earth. And it just shows what's going on. Again, he cannot accept that he's been lied to. And so he keeps making up this statement like, Christ, or Yahushua didn't preach the flat earth. Christ didn't preach a lot of things in a literal sense, but they're true. Christ didn't literally say reincarnation exists and is real, but he pointed to John the Baptist and said, that's Elijah. And so what do we infer from that? When all eyes will see him, even those who pierced him, what does that infer about the shape of the earth and reincarnation and all those different things? So I want people to know that the scheme that he's running here is just bad. It's just, he's desperate to cling to the fact that what he's been getting from GMS and is true, but he's gonna, again, the more he digs into these books in Revelation, he'll realize that the breakdowns are crazy. And other people have pointed this out. The second woe in Revelation 11 is not World War II or whatever. They're talking about a bunch of other things and, run over to World War II real quick and then jump back and all that. Anybody who reads the Bible like that is just, they're out of their mind. Like, their brain is not functioning. That doesn't make any sense. And so he's going to find out when he tries to break down Revelation 11 and doesn't just read it and literal and sequential, that he's just going to have to make up stuff. And I'm excited to hear that.
Okay, and if the earth is flat or square or whatever the fuck it is, it doesn't matter.
Well, the Bible makes a claim about the architecture of the earth, that there are two lights in the sky, not one, according to NASA. And so you're taking away from God's word. And then what's the penalty for that? And so it's just as important as every other verse in the Bible And there are many, and I have a video on my channel where there's hundreds of verses that all of them support a flat stationary earth.
You don't need that for salvation.
He's worried now, and he's realizing that, you know, he's knows that he's in a false group, and then he's just trying to like mentally kind of forgive himself for being lied to, and just don't worry, you know, like just all those things don't matter. Rakaw's a Mason, you know, in a biker gang, and then Tahar is like trying to get prostitutes. Don't worry about that. I'm not going to mention anything like that. Why don't you speak out against your elders, you know, and the disgusting things that they're doing? You think Yahushua would do that in his time? Just a bunch of people around him who were just siphoning money and then getting prostitutes. You think he'd just be like, yeah, that's good, no worries. That's Peter. Don't worry about him. John, whatever, it's fine. They can do whatever they want. You know, so you're being led by Satan, and so I'm helping you if you understand this. But if you're not, we're just gonna laugh at you.
All right. When the kingdom of heaven comes down and we'll know all things, then that's when it don't matter. But until then, like, it don't matter. So what he is, he's a flat earther trying to use the Bible to push his doctrine. Not even teach his doctrine, push his doctrine.
What does that mean? That's fine. I'm a flat stationary earther, proud of it because it took some time and effort to get to that truth. And then, yeah, I then now read the Bible literally because of the flat stationary earth.
All that kind of stuff, just stupid topics. And so God has to do this. Again, he has to make it obvious.
How can the rape doctrine be more important than the flat stationary earth? You can talk about those things and read them and explain them and why they make sense to understand God. That's amazing. But in the times that we live in now, I mean, is that going to help somebody understand their surroundings? The flat earth is a beautiful truth because then we know that everything's a lie. And so our schooling was a lie. Our Christian church was a lie. All the stuff in the news is a lie because it's all like space propaganda. And then, you know, it's important to know because then there's going to be this quote alien deception. And so it matters, you know, to know that there are no aliens or anything like that. It's just we're in a finite place that's enclosed and it's not moving or anything. And everything from out that would come in is righteous. It's God's angels. And so it matters on a lot of different levels. And the fact that you keep coming back to this just shows me and people who will watch this that you're a Satanist.
Yes. And so it's starting to become clear to me that either this is just a script.
He never uses his name. It's always God.
Nate uses his name. Why don't you go and make a video and compliment Nate for using the name, and then compliment Awake Souls for using the name? Why don't you be consistent then? You know, it's like, well, you're so dumb, dude. I'm trying to help you to not be so stupid. It's the same thing Good Servant does for me. He's like, oh, he never uses, you know, Jesus Christ like as a way to like say that I don't have knowledge or whatever. When like Good Servant's just an idiot and doesn't know anything about the Bible. And again, from this person is would show him that that's not the actual name that people use to speak to Christ when he was here, obviously. And so it's all I'm showing people is that it's the same, you know, that they'll just nitpick at like little things. And then this is again the same thing that the Pharisees did to Christ when he was here. And so they'll just like they'll nitpick. And so it's the same spirit, the same vibe. And it's incredible.
That's becoming more and more virgin birth, top anything else.
But he can tell you what's wrong and what's not.
Now he's getting defensive. Why don't you just do a breakdown and explain why the virgin birth makes sense? You know, because it's obviously there in Matthew, and like just we've gone into the blue letter and I've shown that. So why don't you show that you're human and show that there are two sides to the debate, and then show that you're human about the shape of the earth? Maybe the earth is not a spinning ball flying through space. Why don't you again show that you're a real person, right? You're not just a limited scripter and a zombie or an actor, right? Prove that.
That anybody can ever commit is blaspheme the Holy Spirit and to take away from the work that the Holy Spirit does. Why
doesn't he call out Adam Abbott for saying that blasphemy of the Holy Spirit is leaving the truth? Why doesn't he post a video on that? That would edify people because that's stupid, obviously, and that kind of thing. But so we're going to hear that he's accountable to other people, holds other people accountable, but seems very selective. Why has he taken this much time to make this kind of video for me, and the same with Good Servant, when all the people that come on Good Servant's channel is just an idiot, you know, Bible non-literalist, just talking complete nonsense, and this guy's the same, you know? It's like, why of all the topics to talk about, you know, spend time with me? You know, it's just kind of peculiar to me.
On behalf of the Most High, and so Christ even says that even people who speak against him can be forgiven, and we all have. But blasphemy of the Holy Spirit cannot be forgiven. So it's just that then you're directly opposed again. How can he's black perspective? It's just he is. He's an actor, just like
Actor of what?
An actor is somebody who is just only sticking to a script, like you're not allowed to go off it. Like you're under GMS and you're never going to speak against them, or Tahar or anybody, even if Tahar would do something just blatantly wrong and evil, like talk about having sex with prostitutes and committing adultery, which is against the Bible. And so you won't speak out against that. You've just hush on that from the beginning. So you're just an actor. And then you'll, again, in some of our interactions, you'll talk about stuff in the mainstream that we know that it's staged and it's not real. So you're trusting your oppressor for the news and then trying to come to us thinking that you have some kind of wisdom. We know that you're just Stockholm Syndrome again. So this is scary that somebody who's seen the kind of destruction, that's happened to your people here in America would then go and quote CNN and Fox News and all these different shootings as if they're like a real thing, that we should pay attention to. What you should be doing to edify your people is tell them those stories are fake. They're not real. The quote white man or Esau or whatever you want to call it is just doing all this stuff to stir up emotions when the real issue here is that God has been removed from this whole world. And so the Bible says, come out of her, my people. And then because this place requires you to sin, it requires you to tell lies. One lie would be to talk about a news story that's not true. And so when you're going and talking to people about these stories as if they're real, when we know that they're fake, you're forcing those people to lie. And so, which is against the Bible. And so you're leading other people into more and more sin by not being aware of the fact that a lot of the stuff that we know or that's coming from us is fake, and you should know that. Even without Russian vids, at this point, you should know that. And again, that's why you can't be a flat stationary earther, because you get that for free.
Like, I'm not getting any money from this shit. You know what I'm saying?
Well, then you're just stupid then. Dude, if you're just doing this just to support somebody who's just going and having sex with prostitutes, then you are one of the dumbest people on this earth. So.
Under the curses, just like everyone else is, man, suffering, trying to feed the flock, man. And battling demons and heathens like this clown, man.
All these people, they're just actors. And so,
You want sympathy from me? Why don't you learn something and then teach something that's actually true, and then I might be sympathetic.
These kind of topics give it away. So another thing that I use for people who are a bit deeper into this is I look for patterns
now watch how it contradicts itself here.
In terms of numerology, everywhere, ball busters. This is the way God behavior, because they'll never speak ill of one another. These groups
Ill of one another. That's a lie.
It's not a lie, because I've asked you to mirror videos against Tahar, which is obviously biblical, what is being criticized of him, and you won't. And same with End Times Teacher. So you're all on the same team. So yeah, you'll criticize other people, but we all know that those people are idiots, and all that kind of stuff. So I'm asking you to be accountable amongst your own group, and that kind of thing. And so the fact that you won't, when it's obvious that some of them are Masons or whatever, and then siphoning money and all that, doing evil things. So it just shows what's really going on.
GMS is known for rebuking fallen explaining and breaking down to me, to the truth, man. But anyway, he's saying that
why don't you rebuke Zabak for the ball earth, which is obviously not true. A circle and an ellipse are two different things. And so why don't you go and be the people if you think you have 100% truth, that kind of thing. So why don't you go and rebuke people's behavior in the truth?
He's saying that we won't.
Nate has been brought out that he's like a ex-cop or detective or something. We know that all these people are just Masons and actors.
Talk about certain topics that we want Kari and Dry. And then when you start listening and doing your own independent research, you see that their doctrines are different. And GMS is known for calling out.
But they all have the same name, so why is their doctrine different? So what's the name giving you then? You haven't addressed that in any of your videos. You keep hanging on to that like it's something special, like we're going to be impressed when we know that you guys are all just animals. But explain that from the top down, from Yahweh or Yahushai down. What's going on? If certain people have the name, but you're calling them out and pointing out that they have stupid doctrines, and they do, just like you. What's going on with that?
Other camps. This dude watches, man. It's ridiculous, man.
I've said many times that I do watch your videos and you're bringing out some truth. But again, the person who's brought out the most truth that has influenced my channel the most is Russian vids, because he's brought out the flat stationary Earth, and then he's brought out the fact that all the stuff that we're seeing in the news and all that is fake and staged, and the whole world's a stage, literally. And so all the nations are in alignment, and they're all just pretending to fight. And so then I take that mindset to the Bible, which is important, and then the Bible makes sense, because all this stuff is scripted beef from God, and so that's the most important tool that I need to unlock the Bible, is the flat stationary Earth, because then obviously God exists, and then the Bible supports that, and then all this stuff in the news and pretty much all of our history is fake. And then that allows me to accept Deuteronomy 28:68, because that's something that we see, and then no one teaches that, in school or whatever. They just say, they'll make it sound like it wasn't that bad and all that kind of stuff. And we're not taught that in school, and how scary and grotesque that was. So it allows me to accept real history, instead of what's fed to us in school and stuff. So relax with all that, dude. I do watch some of your videos, but at this point now it's just to laugh, because they're dumb. And everybody knows it. If you watch that hangout, and I wish that video still exists, about Tahar and all the elders of GMS talking about how dumb the flat earth is, you will think that the people are like, they're just like 10 years old. Like, they're just dumb. So you want us to go and say that stupid people like that are going to be right about other things? That doesn't make sense. Zabak thinks a circle and an ellipse are the same. That's in school. If somebody said that, you'd just be like, that person's an idiot. Leave that person alone. So why would we go to Zabak and say he's smart if he says a circle and ellipse are the same? That's stupid.
And so the next,
It's like it. We read the whole Bible, man, all the way to Revelations, man.
The whole Bible, right from the beginning, it says that there are two lights in a firmament. What do you think that is, a softament? You think the earth is flying through space? You don't read the whole Bible. You're just a limited scripter and an idiot.
In Chronicles, when you go to his page and you looking at, and that's really it. After that, there's just look, no videos or breakdowns, no deep breakdowns.
Again, this guy's so hurt and so dumb that he doesn't realize that what he criticized me about at the beginning is why there are no breakdowns in the last couple months. You have to scroll down, like I said, at the beginning of this year. And so these people's brains are just so on GMO that he doesn't even know what's going on.
Let's just go back further. Let's go back. See, like,
I'm just fast forwarding.
That's the demon. Look, they got on Sakari about that. They rebuked Sakari for that, man. See,
there's nothing to rebuke. He's just an actor. It's not like he made a little mistake. He's just stupid. Like, there's nothing to say at this point. It's just, you're either an actor or you're on God's right-hand side. That's it. And so Sakari's an actor, just like you.
So what Revelations is talking about? What is?
That's a good video that he should watch. 11, 16, and 18 tells us that the beginning of the end times is going to be peaceful, and then the end is also going to be peaceful, because we're given explicitly in Revelation 11 that people are going to be sending gifts to one another. They're going to think, oh no, like, we got rid of the two witnesses, everything's fine now. And so the end times is, their thinking is going to be utter chaos, and like in America, just all over the place. And it is. There's going to be food shortages, but it's still going to be livable. It has to be, because if there's all food shortages and like very, very few people have food, America would just crumble on its own in like a month or something. So God has to like stretch this out. And so there's still going to be food available, but it's going to be scarce. And so that's a good video. I actually highly recommend he watches that after he watches my other ones.
What is he talking about, man?
So now he's scrolling down further, and then he can see like the lessons that I did that are under my thumbnail with flat earth plus end times in that black and white and gray. Those are all my quote lessons, my prophesying. And then if he goes to the beginning of this year, he'll see all the Revelation 11 and 2nd Ezra and Revelation and all that.
Another 3-minute video, 17-minute video, that shit, man. On Deuteronomy 28. Why didn't you do a breakdown of it?
I've said that many times. Deuteronomy 28. It's just it's kind of implied really in all my videos. So I was just again using mainstream. What I've been doing in the last little while is just showing how the Bible is just basically obviously true because it's in the mainstream. And so there's really not much else for me to say except, just come out of her, my people. And so that's why I post stuff with Jeff Berwick or Greg Manarino and all that kind of stuff. People in the mainstream are telling us that this ship is sunk.
Earth coming has to talking about here, man. Like, what is with times, so many times, second Esdras 12.
See, now he's getting into that time period where I went through all these different books, where second Esdras 12 reaffirms the sequence, Daniel reaffirms the sequence, Zechariah reaffirms the sequence. So all the books that I've gone through, all the prophetic books, reaffirm the sequence that I taught in my Revelation video. And so he just has to go around this time period, and you'll find everything that. And he should also watch the video that he's scrolling on right now. The Bible will shortly be destroyed by Christians and Hebrews. He should watch that video.
In terms of sequence of the end breakdown, I'll watch that. And
he should watch my video about Kobe's death.
let me say this here. Because he says that we're only able to talk about what's in the news and what's going on today. Like, nigga, that's what the fuck we supposed to do.
No, because a lot of those things are fake. If you don't know this by now, subscribe to RV Truth. And Yashar Milwaukee showed in one of their videos, I think, that Tahar was subscribed to Russian vids. So he knows that, that all the stuff in the news is fake and that the earth is flat and stationary, like the Bible says. And so I don't know if you don't know this, but you should, Russian Viz channel has been taken out many times, but now he's under RV Truth. And yeah, you should go and subscribe. And you talking about stuff that's fake to people and getting them trying to do the best you can to fit that into the Bible is not helping anyone. It's just proving to me and lots of us that you're stupid. You're at this point, September 2020, if you don't know that your oppressor, who's been doing this forever, is lying to you almost every day in every way. If you don't know that by now, how are you useful to anybody? How are you useful to people? If you're doing that and then finding a way to tell people that this is obviously not real, that's different. And then we have to be slick about it. Like, we call it the Corolla virus. I got that from End Times and other people. And but I mean, I point out mostly stuff that I put from the mainstream is financial, and it's factual. It's just, there's no way that anybody could manipulate that because we all see it and it's just obvious. And so unemployment numbers, they're at least that much, probably more, probably way more. But stuff going on with all these shootings and you guys are talking about they're real, and I'm just giving you help and advice. We know that they're all staged. So you're just talking about stuff that's you're losing more and more credibility every day.
This dude is an idiot, man.
You're smart by believing what your oppressor is telling you through CNN and Fox, which in numerology 666 News. You need to subscribe to RV Truth quick, buddy. And CNN, if you tilt it sideways, what number does that make? It makes it 33. And so this is kindergarten stuff for us, dude, because a lot of us have gone through Russian vids to become flat stationary earthers. So we've paid our dues, and it's been many, many years. And no one knows who he is. You guys should be speculating whether he's an Israelite because he's brought out an absurd amount of truth. Guess what? By himself. So where's God with him? Is he an Israelite? Why don't you speculate that?
Idiot. This me then and said measured out the time diligent.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. And so Revelation 18:4 says, "Come out of her, my people." Let me read that verse because it's very, very important. This is why I know that we're late in the game. Revelation 18:4, "And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues." And then in Revelation 18:8, it lists those plagues. And so that's why we know we're in the end times, because God has made a system that requires people to sin. And so God's saying, come out. And if you come out and don't partake in those sins, then you won't get the plagues, which are death, mourning, and famine, and utterly burned with fire. And Revelation 18:8. And so that's all we need to teach people, is that there is a law. And you can go into the deeper aspects of the law. That's fine. That's like the rape stuff and all that. That's not a problem. But even the basic stuff, we're not allowed to keep those because we're forced to lie. You're forcing other people to lie when you talk about these other news stories like they're real. You're creating an environment of more sin. And just talking about the flat earth doesn't matter. That's more sin that you're heaping over top of your own head. And so that's a sin to say that, because that's God's creation. you know, and he's specific about what he made. He doesn't want you coming around saying it doesn't matter and messing up everything, you know, like you're just somehow smarter than God. You're just an idiot. That's a very, very important truth that has transformed not just my life, but lots of people's lives. And it's absolutely annihilating people's lives. That's why all this slavery can happen, because this world was run by wicked people who are all atheists. So how does the transatlantic slave trade happen except the world being run by atheists? And how do you have a world being run by atheists? You take God away. How do you do that? Big bang, spinning ball. You can't be this dumb to not figure this out. You are an absolute idiot. And I'll continue to point this out happily, how stupid you are if you keep saying that. And then people who come by my channel will know that you're just an idiot.
In itself. And the very same time, wherein the highest will begin to visit the world, which he made. And that's what we're supposed to be doing, man.
Yeah, we're in those times. And the reason I know that it's on the order of days, weeks, months is that we're all required to sin. All of us. Religious, non-religious, Israelite, heathen, up, down, left, right, north, east, south, everybody. And so Second Ezra, like the whole Bible, is going to be showing itself to be true very, very soon. It has to.
Ezra in the time, Dylan, this is what brothers do. We just a fucking wouldn't bust a grape in a fruit fight, man. In the way they tough guy.
If I'm so soft, which he's trying to say here, why is that when I come to these camps and bring out things, everybody gets real silent and awkward, you know? And like, why do you block people if you're so tough and you want to, you know, go back and forth? Why don't we have a debate then, you know? Or like you're in Dallas, I'm in Houston. Like, why don't you tell me when your camp is meeting and I can come by in Dallas and we can talk and see what's going on, you know? And then I'll find out that the kind of things you're able to talk about, you know, and see how much you guys really, really know about the Bible. Let's see if you're really about that life, you know, for sure. I'm no issues showing up at, you know, whatever you want. We can talk about and figure this out and all that kind of stuff. If you guys are the real tough guys. I've watched GMS Houston get told by quote unquote Esau to socially distance, and then they ran to the other side of the road like clowns that they are. So you guys, I thought you guys were real tough.
God, man. Dude wouldn't bust a grape in a fruit fight, man. And the way that show
That's a good one.
Work or diligently warning.
Needs to look up the word diligently. Really?
Let's get into this. Ezekiel. Eat the house of Israel, which means going into prophecy, man. Read the books, okay? Read the script.
Why don't you do what you're saying then and bring out the prophecy and the sequence? You know that there's a sequence because you said that, made a false statement that I thought they're all sequential from 11 onwards, which is not true. If you watch any of my breakdowns, I explain exactly what sequence they're in. And why don't you show that then? Like, why are you again, this 24, 25 minutes, and you just keep dancing around this product that you claim to have about prophecy, but none of you people seem to know. Like, End Times Teacher can't do it. You can't do it. I haven't seen a good breakdown from anybody about the sequence of the end times, except from the 501c3 Christian church, and they think all this stuff's going to happen in the Middle East, which is insane. So let's hear it, man. I'm excited.
Tell them the stories that happened, you know, to build their faith up. All right. Tell them the laws, and preach to them how we fell away as a people and we came.
Why don't you tell them the laws, but how we're not allowed to keep any of them? And so why don't they know that? You know, and so that's very, very important. Is Tahar keeping the law by taking money and having sex with Israelite prostitutes? Where's that in the law? Is beating people in the kingdom, is that in the law? Show me, where is the teaching on that? Where does it say that in the law, that's the way that slaves are supposed to be handled? We know what's going on with you people, man.
Came back, eat the roll, man. And he said unto me, son of man, in Salaki, it was in my mouth as honey for sweetness. And he said, son of man, go get in the Lord's words. Hour and 40 minutes going into end times teacher. Okay. An hour and 10 minutes.
He's so offended that I went after his boy.
Salaki, hour and 10 minutes going into end times teacher. And not bringing out any scriptures, man.
Dude, you're not helping your cause by me sending them to your email and then scrolling down again, like I've said many times. So I don't know why you're doing this.
Actually, I didn't fast forward. We actually listened to it on the way home. And we were good 40 minutes into it, and no scriptures came out.
Like I've said, the whole point of this is I'm not prophesying. It's more of just like maintenance, you know, and just watching, you know, and I'm like a teacher, lightly observer of the world for this year, a little bit next year, and I'm not doing it after that. So if you think that I'm wrong, then just go away and come back at the end of like 2023, I guess, or whatever, and you can laugh at me. It's fine. Like I've said in one of those videos that I will go on somebody else's hangout and wear a dunce cap so they can laugh at me if I'm wrong by the end of 2023. Essentially, if Christ doesn't return, Yahushua doesn't return prior to 2023, I will stand by my word and do that. I've said it here. I've said it in many other videos. I'm not going to delete them. Lots of people will remind me, and all that kind of stuff. Not like anybody cares. But why don't you just, wait and see? I've made a prediction, and I'm going to stand by it. And so that's why I'm not bringing out these scriptures, because if anybody wants to see my breakdown, I'll send it through email. I'll tell them this is the link to it. And then if they have questions, I'll answer it. But that's why I'm not doing it. So you're just contradicting your own thing about me earlier. Why didn't he just give up after his prediction went wrong? And then he's like, why did he give up? So you're like, I don't understand, dude. That's what I said that I'm going to do. And so you're so lost.
Nope. What he did was he read different translations of Matthew's the first chapter, but he won't go into he won't go into Revelations 5:5. So
what's Revelation 5:5? So I read all those translations just to show how obvious it is that Yahushua or Christ was born of a virgin, but it's just obvious. So I don't know what else to say. Yeah, I mean, this is actually not even as strong as what I went into with Romans, but where it talks about the seed, because that does sort of imply that, it's like physical, and that kind of thing. But again, if you go on the blue letter, that gets debunked. And it's the same with this then. So if that holds, according to the blue letter, Romans 1:3, then it's the same thing. And, it's no different. So it all holds. You all have a problem with all of Matthew 1, and just you guys don't have an explanation. You have to then say that Joseph is sinning and Mary's sinning and all that kind of stuff, and then the Holy Spirit is there, but just to authorize or just declare that it's a special spirit or something. Like you just have to make up all this stuff, and then like Matthew 1, I think it's 24, then you have to say that that's not literal. It's like, no, he didn't really actually not sleep with her. It's like he did once and then stopped and then went back. Like no one's gonna believe that, dude. Like that's so dumb to believe that when all the other verses make sense, with the blue letter and just with common sense. And then that one makes sense. Matthew 1, a very, very unique thing happened, and a miracle happened that day. And it's obvious to us, and so we know what's going on with you guys.
How's your Yahushua of the seed?
Yeah, man. This will be my next lesson, man.
Of the seed. That's gonna be my 5. So how's your Yahushua of the seed?
Yeah, go into that. Look up that word seed, like I did in that video with End Times, and just what I've done in the past. Look that up in the blue letter. It's you'll find out that we have solid ground that we're standing on, biblically, and we know what's going on with you guys.
That's gonna be my next.
All your lessons are stupid, man. Why don't you bring out the sequence of the end times and then stand by it? Like you're telling me to stand by mine, and I am. Why don't you stand by something?
That for whatever reason,
we know more about the Bible. Like you're all over the place. You contradict yourself. And this know the Bible, but then see,
because they know more about the Bible, but.
He said that we don't know the Bible, but then we know more about the Bible. Like he can't.
Yeah, you know more about the Bible than the everyday average 501c3 Christian, but they know that the virgin birth is true, and that's obvious. So it's kind of a toss-up. You know a little bit more on certain things, but yeah, I've said this many, many times, and I'm not hiding it, that the Hebrews, generally speaking, as a group, know the Bible well. Of course. Why would I watch videos of people who don't know the Bible well? But that doesn't mean that they know everything, and so there's lots of truth coming out. Again, this is Bible prophecy that knowledge is going to increase. So we know a lot of things, and there's a lot of things that you guys don't know. And like just the basic things about things going on in the world and deception in the news media and all that, that's not helping your cause because we know that those things are false and fake. And so I'm just helping you, I guess, but you're not the authority for truth because there's a lot of things that you guys just don't know. Again, you guys think that 2 witnesses are 2 nations, and that's crazy.
You're all over the place.
They know too.
Wants to talk about is the fucking flat Earth.
He's talked about flat Earth more than I have, and so it's on his brain. This is good though. He knows. The more he's saying it in his channel and puts me there, hopefully people will come by his channel, check out The Mind of a Demon, and then realize, because I have many videos, that they've been lied to, by Tahar, Zabak, Nate. All these people are just liars, and the flat earth debunks them, and lots of other things, the virgin birth, and the two witnesses, and everything. And so, like, the list goes on. And so I hope he keeps saying, flat earth and my name.
Like, what do you want from us? What do you want us to say, that the earth is flat? Or
this guy sounds so like so hurt that the earth is flat and stationary, which it obviously is.
Disagree? So what? We do that or what? Then what's going to happen?
Then once you admit to that, then you'll have to go and talk to your elders. Why are people getting kicked out of GMS for teaching that? Potentially the guy from GMS Atlanta, Yaradon, maybe, because I have 2 videos on my channel where he's kind of sounding flat-ish, and sounds Russian vids-ish. And I know all these people subscribe to Russian vids. So End Times Teacher has told me that there are people in GMS that know that the earth is flat and stationary, but don't teach it. So they're withholding truth, and they're like deeply evil. And so these people think that they're the elect. You're not allowed to have guile in your mouth if you're the elect. And so it's not funny, but that's you have to. It's not for me. It's you have to go talk to your elders. And then once you go talk to them, you're gonna get a response that they give everybody. You're bugged out. You're a demon. Stick to the doctrine. And then if you get serious, they'll kick you out. And so you'd have to ask yourself, why are you getting kicked out of a group for the truth? That doesn't make sense. And even in school, we're seeing this thing everywhere. Why do you get kicked out of school when you start asking, questions about your reality, and all that? And then why do you get, kicked out of your family when you start saying this whole thing's a scam and all that kind of stuff? You'll start to see patterns.
But you don't see him breaking down Second Esdras, the 12th chapter.
Yeah, I have that on my, again, you can go through my video, and Second Esdras, I've gone through the entire book in a weekly live stream.
I'm gonna watch that now that I think about it, and I know, man, look, that's deep history, bro.
Everything in Second Esdras is consistent with Revelation that I've taught, and then it's happening right before our eyes. People are not able to travel, food shortages. Second Esdras is an amazing book. The amazing thing about Esdras, which I don't think Esdras cares about his people, deeply. And so he's not going to get things from God, turn around and start filtering out certain things and give them a little bit here and there. Like, Esdras is like a person who genuinely cares about his people, and he wants them to believe God and love God as much as he does. And that requires those people knowledge about God. All things that God created, not a few things here and there, which you're cherry picking. So that's why I know you're a demon, because you hate your people and you hate God. And so I'm going to just keep pointing that out. And so it's just, it's obvious to the people that come by my channel that no normal person would make the kind of statements that you make. Oh, what difference does it make? Oh, what do you want me to do? Teach the flat earth? Same thing that Carlos Pagan and other guys taught me. Oh, what do you want me to do? Teach that Christ is black? What do you want me to do? He said that to me early in the debates. Like, it's like a burden for him. No, we celebrate Christ for who he is, and then if he's dark skinned, we celebrate that. If he made a flat station earth, we celebrate that because of all the things that he's done, and he's going to continue to do. So it's not a burden for me, for people like me. It's a burden for you, for some reason, to acknowledge certain verses in the Bible. So that means there's something else going on.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now. I'm gonna tell you right now, he bungled that. Without looking at it, he bungled Second Esdras, the 12th chapter.
Just like you think Arzareth is America, you think anybody coming by here is going to believe your stupid breakdown after you had no idea what east of the Euphrates is. You think you're going to all of a sudden come out with some grand slam, in ninth inning breakdown of anything in Second Esdras, and it makes any sense. You don't even have the sequence of the end times. So how are you going to understand what Esdras is talking about when he's talking about the end times, and the eagle and all that kind of stuff? So let's hear your feedback. That'll be hilarious. So good luck to you.
Without a doubt. Break down Daniel's the 8th chapter, Daniel's the 9th chapter, Daniel's 10 and 11. Tell them to break that down.
I have all those on my video or on my channel. Again, I don't know if your hand is lazy, you can't scroll down, or the GMO, maybe you need to get some more GMO food to get more energy to scroll. You can scroll down, I know why you don't want to, because you're realizing now that you've been lied to, and it hurts.
And this is why, man. Let me see. This is why he can only do rebuttal videos, pausing and clicking the damn keyboard. not bringing out any scripture, just coming out of vain opinion. All right, Revelations 9 and 10, and I fell at his feet to work.
Why don't you do what you're saying that I should do? Why don't you bring out the scriptures? I've asked you every single video for a breakdown of Revelation 11 and or the sequence of the end times. Take the Revelation and put it in the right order that you think it is, and then I'll examine it and compare it to mine. And then if you're right, I'll concede that you're right. But all you keep saying is I don't keep bringing out the scriptures, but you never do. And it's the same thing that I've gotten from Good Servant and all these other people who just hate God, and they think that Christ is like a white-green person. And so they're like, where he never brings out the scriptures when that's all I do. And so I'm still waiting for you. And all this is doing is proving that you don't have a breakdown yet. You're just buying time.
Worship him that have the testimony of Yahushua. Worship power for the testimony of Yahushua is the spirit of prophecy. Because he doesn't have the testimony of Yahushua, man.
Well, okay, so I've made a prediction, a prophecy. Where's yours? And so make it and then stick to it, and then we'll see which one's right. So you're, again, going against what you're not doing. So what is your prophecy? What is the sequence? It's the mark of the beast, then what, then what, then what? And so let's hear it, and then show us the chapters or the verses that support that, and then that's your testimony. And then so I've put mine out there. So again, you're bringing out verses that are not helping your cause.
Man, so therefore he doesn't have the spirit of prophecy, which he can't do that. He'll post a video of a 20-second, 30-second clip of the RFID microchip.
All this is not looking good for you, man. Again, I've sent you like my videos, and people in my channel who've been with me through this journey, they know like the history. And so, people who haven't, I've tried to refresh their my teachings on those weekly live streams. But at this point now, again, like I said, it's more maintenance mode. So, if you want to know where those are, I'll send them to you, and you keep asking, where is it? But I've sent it to you, and you just have to, even if you just search on my channel, Revelation 11, you'll get all of them. And so, you're not helping your cause. You're proving to people who come by here and know about my channel that you're a liar, because I've sent you in an email, and so I could put that email back and forth on a video and tell people what I sent you, and then you're just playing dumb, which just proves that you're a liar.
And all the other shit. Third chapter, he won't get into none of that shit, man. He won't get into the second chapter, the third, but he won't go there. He won't go get into Joel, the second chapter, the third chapter. He won't break that down. Okay.
Again, I've gone into all the major and minor prophets. It's all there.
He won't get into Amos, the first chapter. He won't get into none of that shit. So this dude 36th chapter. Isaiah the 19th chapter. Kill this nigga soon, man. The Lord's gonna kill this nigga soon. Here he is. He said he's gonna stop prophesying. That was 8 months ago, and you're still making videos, man.
8 months ago, dude, you're mentally deranged. I haven't prophesied since then. I'm just doing these these back and forth. So you think that this is prophesying? Talking to somebody like you who's an idiot who thinks that he lives on a spinning ball. Is this prophecy, what we're doing here? No, you're just getting in your feelings, knowing that I have all those books breaking down and explain, and then you just keep saying, where are they, when they're just on my channel. And then, so we're not prophesying. So if you're supposed to be prophesying, go do that. You're wasting your time going back and forth with somebody who's a quote demon. And so, what are you doing, man? I don't know what to tell you. Like, you're so dumb. It's not prophesying. The date that I said, I stopped. Like, I'm just putting stuff that anybody who's going out seeing the world would like put commentary, like financial stuff, mark of the beast and all that. Even like everyday average people, this is without even the Bible, would not even take the mark of the beast or anything that's going on. Vaccines. You don't even have to be religious to know that this is evil. And so I'm kind of more in that mindset now, and that type of mirroring videos and stuff. So, again, I don't know if your brain's working, is that you're saying that the guy should have stopped prophesying. And then he looks at my most recent videos in the last few months and says, where's all the prophesying? Like, do you get that? I don't know if I need to spell it out, or send you some detail because you're so dumb.
Now he's bumped it down to 2023. Now if the world has ended in 2023, he's gonna stop preaching and prophesying.
This guy's so dumb. Like, I've never said any of that. Like, it's it just shows like what liars have to do. Like, their brain doesn't work, and then they have to just make up a bunch of stuff and all that kind of stuff. He's finding out in his mind, he knows that he's pushing lies. And so all he can do now is like squirm, I guess, and stuff. So 2023 was a prediction that I made a long time ago, and I haven't changed the date. That 1260, that I set prior to that was just to be very specific, and precise about me being a quote unquote prophet. And so, yeah, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm more of just like a teacher, observer, I guess, of the Bible. And then wherever I can lend my expertise, I'll do that. And then direct people to my videos. But I'm not pushing it more, because again, if I'm right, then I know that it's only for me. And if I'm wrong, I'm not going to push it more because I'm a real person, who can admit that he's wrong. You guys can't because you're limited scripters and you're actors.
Like the elders and apostles have been doing this for 30 years. Okay, they predicted that it was supposed to happen in the year 2000 during this whole 2K
disregarding all the Bible for that to happen. So like that's absurd that they would even make a stupid prediction like that.
2K scare, whatever, but they didn't stop.
They should have, because they're false prophets, and I'm going to stop without a doubt after 2023. That's insane for anybody to think that if they're in the Bible for real, that Yahushua or Christ will return after that. The Bible's a joke if that's the case. So I'm going to stick by that.
So it's all good though, man. We know who the Lord is.
He keeps saying it's all good.
Dealing with, who the Lord working with in these last days, man. And it's not your heathen, man. It's not your heathen. All right. So that's it on this lesson, man. Hopefully it was edifying. I want to give all praise and glory and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua. Shalom.
Yeah, dude, if it's not me, think about this. I'm just trying to help you. Think about this from a practical perspective. Like, if you're much smarter than somebody, or like, let's say, like into sports or basketball or something, would you go and like, if you're Kobe Bryant, would you go to like, some, playground with like little kids and say, oh, you suck at basketball. You're terrible. And like make fun of them. Would you do that? Like, and if you're like, let's say you're really, really smart at like mathematics or something, would you go to like an elementary school and look at people and be like, oh, you're so stupid at math. You're so dumb. Or would you go around other people who are on your cool level? So you saying that I'm a heathen and like you guys have the truth and I don't and all that, it doesn't make sense why you're here. That's what I want people to sort of understand is more the psychology of somebody like you, an end times teacher and all that. But we know the psychology of liars because we've been lied to about everything, as flat earthers. So we know that the earth being a ball is a lie, and so our whole education system is a scam. The stock market, everything financial is a scam. History is a scam. All the stuff in the news is a scam and false and staged and all that. And so that's obvious to us. And so it doesn't make sense why you're coming here saying all those kind of things if you're on some level, And then if you do have all this deep insight into Revelation in the Bible, you would have just presented your sequence and then we wait and see what happens, and then you wouldn't need to come and look at any of my videos to consider it because I'm not smart, or a heathen or a demon or whatever and all that kind of stuff. So, or a deceiver or inconsistent with what I say and then start posting videos. Why? Then you wouldn't even consider my teaching. So you're just showing that you're very, very inconsistent. And there's something in your brain, I think, hopefully that it manifests more, that you're realizing that you've been lied to on many, many levels, about your history, who you are as a person. And I admit that that's an amazing thing that you've landed on. And that's great. I recognize that and affirm that that's true, that, many of the so-called Negroes are indeed the biblical Jews, but the Jews are also everywhere, on earth. But I acknowledge that. That's an amazing thing. But that doesn't mean that God has stopped deceiving people. God is using almost every opportunity he can to deceive, but then God's elect will not be deceived. And that's in Revelation 12. And that's happening right now. And that is prior to Revelation 11. So it's not in sequential order. Again, if you watch my videos, that would be very, very obvious. I think it's better for you to be a bit more academic about this. Just as I say this to you genuinely, even though we've gone back and forth, this is not helping you because I'm not changing my position on what I've taught. Either that happens or it doesn't and I'm wrong, and that's it. And so it looks like don't know, I guess, or whatever, what the sequence is when you should, because it's pretty late in the game at this point. I think a lot of us have dismissed the fact that the end times is like way in the future or anything like that. So there's like, you just read people's comments on YouTube videos. They're like, imagine this was not the end times. Like, we all know that this is it. So you should have all the information in front of you to convey to me and others what the sequence is, and then support it in the Bible. Because like you said, you've broken down everything and all that. But I'm still waiting for that. Hope everyone's doing well. Bye.